There is a quiet question that lives within the heart of so many of us, a gentle yet persistent hum beneath the noise of our daily lives. It is not a question formed of words, but a feeling, a sense of a vast, unvisited landscape waiting just beyond the borders of our known world. We spend our years building our identities, curating our personalities piece by piece, like a meticulous collector arranging objects in a display case. We gather beliefs, memories, ambitions, and fears, and we present this collection to the world, and even to ourselves, as me. This is my story. These are my thoughts. This is the sum of my being. Yet, even in the most accomplished moments, when the display case is gleaming under the light of success, that quiet hum remains. It whispers of an ocean of being to which our carefully constructed self is but a single, fleeting wave. It speaks of a profound peace that our worldly achievements can never quite touch, and a love so complete that it asks for nothing in return. This is the first stirring, the initial, subtle invitation from a consciousness far greater than our own, a hint that the life we are living, with all its frantic activity and striving, is only the surface layer of a reality infinitely deeper, richer, and more true. The journey into this deeper reality does not begin with a grand gesture or a monumental effort of will. In fact, it is our very insistence on effort, on control, on doing, that often keeps the door firmly shut. We have been taught to fight for what we want, to wrestle with our problems, to analyze our shortcomings until they are mapped out in excruciating detail. We apply this same logic to our inner world, believing we can somehow argue our way to peace or discipline our way to enlightenment. We treat our minds like unruly children to be silenced, and our emotions like enemies to be vanquished. But the divine consciousness is not a prize to be won through struggle. It is a presence that awaits our simple, unadorned stillness. It is like the sun, which does not force its way through a shuttered window, but simply waits for the shutters to be opened. The descent of this grace into our lives is not an invasion, but a homecoming. It seeks not to conquer our being, but to illuminate it from within, to saturate every cell with a light that was always its inherent nature. The first real step, then, is the most courageous and perhaps the most difficult of all, to cease the fight. It is to lay down our weapons of analysis and self-judgment, and to simply be present with the beautiful, messy, unresolved reality of ourselves, creating a quiet space of acceptance into which something new can finally be born. This initial state of allowing can feel profoundly counterintuitive. Our minds, accustomed to constant motion, will protest. They will generate endless streams of thought, planning for a future that does not exist, reliving a past that is gone, and weaving intricate stories about who we are and what we need. To observe this inner theater without being swept onto the stage is the foundational practice. You are not the thoughts. You are the silent, spacious awareness in which the thoughts appear and dissolve, like clouds passing through an endless sky. You are not the emotions that surge and recede. You are the deep, calm ocean that remains unmoved by the turbulence on its surface. Realizing this is not a mental exercise. It is a shift in identity, a subtle yet seismic relocation of your sense of self from the transient wave to the eternal ocean. This is where the transformation begins to take root. When you no longer identify with the noise, you create a silence for the divine to speak. And its language is not of words, but of profound peace, of an unshakable inner solidity, and of a quiet joy that depends on nothing external to sustain it. It is a presence that holds you, that informs you, that begins to gently reorder your inner world, not by force, but by the simple, overwhelming power of its unconditional love. The thoughts may still arise, the emotions may still flow, but they are no longer the center of your universe. They are peripheral phenomena, observed with a compassionate detachment by the vast, silent being you are discovering yourself to be. This is the beginning of the descent. The moment the first rays of a new dawn touch the horizon of your inner world, promising a day of unimaginable light. As this deeper consciousness begins to permeate your being, it initiates a subtle and profound recalibration of your entire existence. It does not operate according to a plan you can comprehend or a schedule you can set. The human mind desires a linear path, a series of predictable steps leading to a known destination. It seeks to create a map of the spiritual journey, complete with milestones and signposts. But the divine works more like water gently seeping into the earth. It finds its own way, following the unique contours of your individual nature, softening the hard, resistant soil of your habits and fears, and nourishing the dormant seeds of your soul. To trust this process is to abandon your own limited maps and allow yourself to be guided by an intelligence that is both infinitely wise and intimately personal. It knows the exact pressure required to break open a stubborn pattern, the precise moment of stillness needed for a new insight to flourish, and the perfect experience to reveal a hidden aspect of your own divinity. Your only task is to remain open, to be the receptive earth, trusting that the water knows its way to the sea and will carry you with it. This surrender is not a passive weakness, but an active, dynamic faith. It is the conscious choice to align your personal will with the universal flow, a decision to stop swimming against the current and instead allow it to carry you home. This transformation fundamentally alters how you experience your own thoughts and emotions. Before, they were tyrants. A wave of anxiety could derail your entire day. A critical thought could poison your self-worth. A flash of anger could sever a connection. They were you, and you were them. But as the light of the divine presence grows stronger within you, it creates a space, a sacred pause, between the stimulus and your response. The emotion still arises. The grace does not make you inhuman. It makes you fully human, but it no longer consumes you. It is felt, seen, and held within a vast container of peace. You can observe the anger as a fiery energy passing through your field of awareness, without becoming the anger itself. You can witness the sadness as a cleansing rain, without drowning in it. The thoughts, too, lose their authority. They are no longer absolute truths dictating your reality, but simply suggestions, possibilities, or echoes of old conditioning. You can choose which ones to engage with, which ones to believe, and which ones to simply let drift by. This is the birth of true inner freedom. It is not the freedom from feeling, but the freedom from being imprisoned by your feelings. It is the realization that you are the vast, open sky, and your thoughts and emotions are merely the weather, constantly changing, but never affecting the true nature of your boundless being. This inner shift inevitably begins to express itself outwardly in your actions. When your movements are no longer dictated by the frantic desires of the ego or the anxious need for approval, they begin to flow from a place of deep, quiet integrity. You find yourself acting with a new kind of spontaneity and precision. There is less hesitation, less internal debate, because the action arises from a place of wholeness, not from a fragmented committee of conflicting inner voices. You might find yourself saying no with a gentle firmness where before you would have said yes out of obligation. You might find yourself drawn to simple, creative acts that you previously dismissed as unproductive. Your work, your relationships, your very way of walking through the world becomes a form of meditation, an expression of the harmony you are cultivating within. You are no longer trying to get something from the world, but are instead focused on what you can give from the overflow of your own being. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming authentic. It is the gradual, beautiful process of your outer life becoming a true reflection of the luminous, peaceful reality of your inner world. Every gesture becomes a prayer, every word a mantra, and every interaction an opportunity to share the silent light that is now guiding you. And if any of these words have stirred something in you, if they feel less like new information and more like a memory of a place you've always known, then perhaps this is more than just a video for you. Perhaps it's a quiet confirmation, a gentle nudge from the universe. We are all on this path together, learning to listen to that same inner whisper. If you feel a connection here, a sense of resonance, then I warmly invite you to journey with us for a while. Consider becoming part of this growing circle by subscribing. More than that, I would be so genuinely moved to hear what part of this resonated with you. What stirs in your own heart when you hear of this quiet presence. There is no right or wrong answer, only your truth. Sharing it in the comments below can be a beautiful way to honor your own journey and to let others know they are not alone. To live in this transformed state is to inhabit a world that is at once the same and yet utterly different. The external circumstances may not have changed, the bills still need to be paid. The challenges of life still arise, and the world continues its chaotic dance. But your relationship to it all has undergone a revolution. The frantic search for happiness in external things, in relationships, in status simply falls away, not through forceful renunciation, but because its futility has become self-evident. You have discovered a wellspring of peace and contentment within yourself that is invulnerable to the winds of fortune. This creates a profound stability, a deep-rootedness in being. You are no longer a leaf tossed about by every gust of wind, but the ancient tree, deeply rooted in the silent earth, whose branches may dance in the storm, but whose core remains steadfast and serene. This is not a detachment that is cold or aloof. On the contrary, it is the foundation for the deepest possible connection. Because you no longer need anything from anyone, you are free to love them completely, without agenda, without expectation. You can meet each person and each situation from a place of fullness, not of lack. This new life is characterized by a deep and abiding silence, but it is not an empty silence. It is a vibrant, potent, and creative stillness. It is the plenum, not the void. It is the womb of all creation, the canvas upon which the masterpiece of your life can unfold. From this silence, intuition arises as clear as a bell. You begin to simply know things without knowing how you know them. You know the right path to take, the right word to say, the right action to perform. This is the divine consciousness guiding you not through loud commands, but through the subtlest of feelings, the quietest of promptings. Your life ceases to be a series of problems to be solved and becomes a continuous mystery to be lived. There is a sense of wonder and magic in the everyday. The sight of sunlight on a leaf, the sound of rain on a window pane, the taste of a simple millwall become infused with a sacred quality. Because you are seeing them, not just with your eyes, but with your soul. You begin to perceive the one consciousness that is dreaming itself into existence through every form. And you recognize that same consciousness as your own true self. The ultimate realization on this path is the dissolution of the barrier between you and the divine. The very idea of a separate self, a small me that has to strive and seek and beg for grace, is seen for the illusion it always was. There is no longer a seeker and a sought. There is only seeking. There is no longer a lover and a beloved. There is only love. You realize that you are not a vessel that needs to be filled with divine light. You are the light. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. This is the great paradox and the ultimate liberation. Life continues, but you are no longer the one living it. A greater power lives and breathes through you. Your hands become its hands, your voice its voice, your heart its heart, and the purpose of your life becomes beautifully, breathtakingly simple, to be a clear and open channel for this divine love and intelligence to flow into the world, to touch, to heal, and to awaken others to the same magnificent truth that lies sleeping within them. It is a journey from the head to the heart, from the wave to the ocean, from feeling separate to knowing, in every fiber of your being, that you are, and always have been, whole. I want to thank you, truly, for sharing this space and time with me. To explore these things is a deeply personal act, and to do it together creates something truly special, like a gentle fire we can all gather around for warmth. Your presence here is what gives this channel its heart. If you feel you've found a little bit of that warmth here, I would be so grateful if you would subscribe and continue on this path with us. But even more than that, I would love for this to be a place of genuine connection. Please feel welcome to share a piece of your own story in the comments. Is there a moment in your life where you felt a flicker of this peace? A moment of stillness that changed your perspective? Or perhaps you have questions or topics you'd like us to explore together in the future. Every story shared here adds another log to the fire, making it brighter for everyone. Thank you for being here.